Okay?
Yes.
Shall I start?
Yes.
Okay. ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च. So now in the story we have come to the third boon, the final boon that Nachiketa is going to encash now. And as we know, Bhagwan Mrityu or Yamadharmaraja, we can call him Bhagwan because he is the Acharya here. So the Acharya has not yet started the teaching, but because of his lapse of making this Brahmana Atiti wait for 3 days, he gave him, three boons. He said he could encash three boons as an atonement for having made this boy Nachiketa wait for 3 days and 3 nights without food, water, and rest. And we already saw in detail what was the first boon that Nachiketa encashed, what was the second boon also we saw in quite a great detail. But the second boon, which is associated with the karma and upasana, called as Nachiketagni and Virat Upasana, may not be very relevant to us because it is a Vedic ritual, it's a fire ritual which is actually done, it is explained in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, and those who are interested in Swarga or higher lokas can do that, and the result is attaining higher lokas. But then at present, because it's not very relevant to us in these times, it may not be very relevant to us or of much interest to us. So directly we'll go to the third boon. And the third boon, Nachiketa asks for himself. The first boon was for the father, the second boon was for the benefit of those who want to attain higher lokas, and the third boon is for himself. And in the 20th verse of the first chapter, the first valley, we saw that last time, but then we'll just read it again because this is a continuity. What is going to come is going to continue with what the third boon is. So here she says, Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushe अस्तीत्येके नायमस्तीति चैके ये तद्विद्याम् अनुशिष्टस्त्वयाहं वराणामेष वरस्तृतीयः. So, as I explained in the last session, let me just summarize this third boon that Nachiketa is asking. He says, I want to get educated or taught by you, hey Amadharmaraja, because you are the best person to talk about death. And then what he says is, when the physical body of a person dies, and when that physical body is disposed of by whatever means it is, what happens then? Is there something which is remaining back, or anything which travels, or is it the end of the body is the end of everything? Now he says there are some people, some philosophies like Charvakas who say that the body is everything. When the body is gone, everything is gone. There is nothing else which is remaining. Whereas all the other Darshana Shastras, all the other philosophies say that there is something which is left behind. What is it that is left behind? Now we have to understand, as I explained in the last session, I'm going to explain this again. You may think that I'm repeating it a number of times, but Upanishad is something which is sometimes very, very cryptic and very, very subtle. And for the sake of better understanding, some of the things need repetition. And what was this question regarding that Nachiketa has asked? He has asked for this boon where he wants Yamadharmaraja to tell him what remains when the physical body is gone. Is there any principle which remains behind? Is there any principle which travels, which cannot be seen by us, which cannot be perceived by us? So, if at all it is that, what is it? Now, what is the purpose of Nachiketa asking this question? We have to understand that when we say the physical body is gone, the sthula shariram is dead, then we understand and we know, we have read in the Tattva Bodha, we have also gone through Vivek Chudamani, where we have understood very clearly that when I say I am a combination of four things: the Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, the Karana Sharira, and the Atma. And what do our scriptures say? The Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira together is called as Anatma. And you are not the Anatma, Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. We saw that in Vivek Chudamani also in detail. Who are you? The Upanishads say, you are not the Anatma, Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharirani, but you are that consciousness, Swarupa, Atma. You are that Bodha Swarupa, Sakshi Chaitanya, Swarupa, Atma, Tvam Asi. That is what our scriptures say. Now, the Sukshma Sharira, the Karana Sharira are also subtle. They cannot be seen, they cannot be perceived like the physical body. So once the physical body dies, there are two things which are there now. The physical body dies, but the Sukshma Sharira and the Karana Sharira, nothing happens to them. They don't die, but they travel. This traveling Sukshma Sharira with the Karana Sharira, with the entire bundle of the Sanchita Karmas, is what is called as the Jiva. So the Jiva is the Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, Sanchita Karma combination. Once the Stula Sharira is no more, this Sukshma Sharira, the combination of Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, and Karma, which is called as Jiva, travels, it is said. That's what our scriptures say. That's what the Brahma Sutra says. And where does this Jiva travel? It travels and it exists in a very potential form, in Maya, in an unseen and unperceived, in a minute form, it exists. In a potential form, it exists. Till it finds another body to embody itself. And what all different stages this particular jiva goes through is also explained in the Upanishads. We don't have to worry about it. Let us only understand one thing, that out of the Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, and the Atma, which are left behind after the Sthula Shariram is gone, out of these, the Sukshma Sharira, the Karana Sharira, and the entire bundle of karmas called as Sanchita Karma, the whole package which is called as the Jiva, travels. For how many years does it travel? We cannot say that. Till the prarabdha karmas of the jiva find an appropriate body, an appropriate situation, an appropriate place to embody itself. Till then, the sukshma karana sharira rupi jiva exists in a potential form. Once the prarabdhas of this jiva have come to a boiling point. They have come to a point where now the jiva has to embody itself. It embodies itself in a different body, in a certain conducive place and time to work out the prarabdhas. Now, is this what is left behind? Or there is one more thing, Atma, that consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanya Atma, which is also left behind, and this Atma does not travel. Why does it not travel? Atma is all pervasive. It is all pervading Atma. It is present everywhere. It is Nityam. It is Sarvagataha. It is Sthanu. There is no question of Atma Chaitanya traveling. So Atma Chaitanya is constantly there as the Adhishtanam of the Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. So there are two things which are left behind. The Sukshma Karana Sharira associated, what is called as the Jiva, the traveling Jiva is left behind, and Atma. Atma does not undergo any change, Atma does not undergo any travel, it remains as it is. Therefore, now what Nachiketa wants to know is ultimately what is this Atma that is left behind? Now you can ask me this question. How do you know that Nachiketa wanted to know about Atma? He could have probably asked, he would have asked this question to know what happens to the traveling Jiva. But from the future verses, from the verses which come, the mantras which come later, we understand that what Nachiketa wants to know about is this Atma. He wants to know what this Atma is. When the physical body is gone, what remains is the Atma. He doesn't bother, he's not bothered about the jiva. Anyway, the jiva travels, comes back again and again and again and again in various physical bodies and works out all its prarabdhas. That is not what Nachiketa is interested in. He is interested in knowing about the Atma, and therefore he says, Yetad Vidyam, this Vidya, this Atma Vidya, I want to know. I know that the jiva travels. I'm not interested in knowing about what this jiva is. It doesn't matter. Without the physical body or with the physical body, the jiva ever remains a samsari. And the jiva keeps coming back again and again. I'm not interested in the jiva. I want to know about that thing, that permanent and immortal thing called as the Atma, which is left behind, which is Nityaha Sarvagataha Sthanuhu in the language of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. I want to know about that. Now, there is a vichikitsa, there is a doubt whether something remains or something does not remain. I know that the jiva is separated from the physical body and the jiva travels. But what happens to the Atma? What is this Atma? I want to know about this. Varanam yeshaha varaha tritiyaha. This is the third vara that I want to ask from you. I want to get this vidya from you. And who else can be a better teacher for Nachiketa than your Lord Yama? Lord Yama is the very Lord of death. Therefore, who else can be a better teacher in talking about what happens after death, what travels after death, what remains without traveling? Who else is a better person than Yamadharmaraja himself? Therefore, he asked for this boon. But then Yamadharmaraja is not going to give this immediately. In our culture, in our scriptures, it is said that unless the Shishya asks for this knowledge should not be given. Even if the Shishya asks for this knowledge, the Guru has to confirm whether the Shishya's interest is serious, whether he is committed to knowing the truth, whether the Shishya is an adhikari for knowing this truth, whether the Shishya is a prepared intellect to know this. Simply giving something, it's not going to help. The Guru has to decide just because the Shishya has asked for it, is there any point in giving this? The Shishya should be prepared for this knowledge. Does the Shishya have the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti? Is there adequate amount of Viveka? Is there adequate amount of Vairagya? Is there adequate discipline, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti? Mumukshutvam also, is it Tivra Mumukshutvam or casual Mumukshutvam? I told you in the last session, there are so many people who say, please take an Upanishad class for us. But their interest is so limited, so casual, so temporary that by the time we are in the first chapter or not even in the half of the first chapter, they lose interest. Because Upanishad is not something that can be taken lightly. Though here Kathopanishad has a story in it to start with, all Upanishads don't start with a story. They start with the serious teaching. And therefore, the teacher has to actually ascertain whether this student, the Shishya, is really keen on knowing this, whether he is capable of understanding this, whether he has the clarity and the capacity to perceive this. Is there sufficient grahana shakti and dharana shakti, whether this person has it? So, the teacher has to find out about it. Therefore, from the 21st verse onwards, from the 21st mantra onward, up till the 29th mantra, till the end of this vali of the first chapter, till the end of this section, it is literally Yamadharmaraja, the teacher, is cross examining or examining whether Nachiketa is fit enough to get this knowledge. And what does he do? He wants to see whether this 8-year-old boy is asking this question out of sheer childishness and curiosity, or does this boy really have an idea about this Atma and wants to know more? And therefore, what does Yamadharmaraja do? He tries to distract Nachiketa by offering all kinds of things to distract him and see whether Nachiketa gets distracted by all the offerings that Lord Yama has made. Here we see in the future verses that Nachiketa does not get distracted by any amount of things which Yama offers. He says, please don't ask me this question. Whatever you want, I will give you. And what are the things he promises? That all that we'll see in the next 9 verses. And this is a dialogue in the next 9 verses between Yamadharmaraja and Nachiketa, where Nachiketa is steadfast and is very clear that he wants to know about Atma. At the same time, Yamadharmaraja is testing and testing and testing Nachiketa whether he is really interested in this knowledge and whether he is a fit recipient of this knowledge. This is what we'll see in the next 9 verses. So let us see the 21st mantra here. देवैरत्रापि विचिकित्सं पुरा न हि सुज्ञेयमनुरेश धर्मः अन्यं वरं नचिकेतो वृणीष्व मामोपरोत्सीरति मासृजैनम्. Yamadharmaraja is talking this. He is asking, telling Nachiketa, this is Yama Uvacha or Vaivasvata Uvacha. What does he say? Devaihi atra api vichikitsam pura. Hey Nachiketa, this doubt is not only among humans, what remains behind, what is this Atma that is left behind once the physical body is gone. This is the doubt even the higher loka beings have. Devai ratra api vichikitsam pura. From a very long time, even the devas, the celestials, and the exalted beings of the higher lokas have also wanted to know this truth, but then they do not know. We have a story again in Kathopanishad where Brahman appears in the form of a yaksha and the devatas, Agni and Vayu and Indra, are not able to recognize what this is. We have a story in Kathopanishad. So here he's bringing, we have to understand that. See, whenever we study the Upanishads, we have to bring the teachings from the other Upanishads also, examples from the other Upanishads also. So when we have studied the 10 Upanishads, we are able to bring in cross references from the other Upanishads also. So here he's saying, even gods, even celestials, devaihi atra api vichikitsitam pura. From a long time, even the devas, the exalted beings, have been thinking about this and they have been wanting to know this. Like in Kathopanishad, Brahman came and literally manifested in the form of a yaksha in front of the devatas, but they were not able to recognize him. Therefore, what does it mean? Brahmajnanam is not that easy. It requires a teacher and it requires the Shastra to be unfolded by the teacher properly. Therefore, this knowledge is something which is not understood. Devaihi atra api vichikitsam pura. They also do not know. Devas also do not know about it. Nahi sugneyam anuresha dharmaha. Second line. Dharmaha here means Atma. Another name for Atma is Dharmaha. Here, Dharma does not mean Dharma, Punya, Papa, Adharma, it does not mean. Dharmaha here is another name for Atma. Dharayate sarvam iti dharmaha. Dharayate means what? That which supports everything, that which sustains everything. That is what is called as dharma. And Atma is one thing which sustains everything. That's why dharma, I mean Papa Punya dharma is also called dharma. Dharayate iti dharmaha. Here also, Atma being the very substratum, being the very adhishtanam of this entire universe, sarvam dharayate iti dharmaha. And in this context, dharma means Atma. Atma is indicated here. Brahman is indicated here. So he says, Nahi dharmaha sugneyam anuresha. This Atma is a very, very subtle thing. It requires a very, very subtle and a prepared intellect. Without that, it is very difficult to understand this Atma. Therefore, Nahi Sugneyam. This is not very easy to understand. Without a guru, without the Shastra, it is not able to understand anything about this Atma at all. So, what he says is, Nahi Sugneyam. This dharma or this Atma is not clearly understood because it is a very, very subtle thing. Anureshaha. This is Anureshaha. Anu here does not mean atom, it means subtle. Atma is something which is so subtle. Excuse me. Atma is something which is so subtle that it is very difficult to understand this Atma. And therefore, he says here, Nahi Sugneyam. It is not that easy. Sorry. It is not that easy to understand this Atma. Anuresha Dharmaha. This is Anu. Anu means what? It is very, very sukshma. It is very difficult to understand it. One second. I'm very sorry. Anuresha Dharmaha. Anyam Varam Nachiketo Vrinishva. Hey Nachiketa, please ask for some other vara, some other boon. I'm willing to give you anything equivalent to whatever you want to ask me, but don't ask about this particular thing. And ma mo parotsi rati ma srijainam. And please don't force me. Don't compel me to answer this question. Choose some other vara. Now he wants to see whether Nachiketa listens or not. Now, just this much is enough. Sometimes children, he's a Kumara, after all, he's an 8-year-old boy. Many times, when we say no to a child, it wants exactly what we say no to. Correct? So, it is possible that Nachiketa, being a child of 8 years, may be wanting this, even though Yamadharma Raja is telling him, please don't ask me, don't force me, don't compel me into answering this question. Whether Nachiketa is going to hold on or what he wants to see now. And what does Nachiketa say very intelligently in the next mantra? He answers this question when Yama says that this is such a subtle thing, Atma is such a subtle thing, even the devas of the Devaloka, even the higher beings have not understood it because it's a very subtle thing. So, what is the answer that Nachiketa is giving to Yama in a very, very intelligent way? We'll see that in the verse number 22. What does he say in mantra 22? देवैरत्रापि विचिकित्सितं किल त्वं च मृत्यो यन्न सुज्ञेयमात्थ वक्ता चास्य त्वाग्दृङ् अन्यो न लभ्यः नान्यो वरस्तुल्य एतस्य कश्चित् नो यमधर्मराजा न अन्यो वरः तुल्य एतस्य कश्चित्. No other boon is equivalent to this boon. I don't want anything else. I want this boon only, and I want this knowledge only. And I accept what you say. Devaihi atra api vichikitsitam kila. Isn't it? You yourself said that this is something which is so subtle that even the gods or the devatas are not capable of understanding it, isn't it? Yes, I agree. Tvam cha mrityo yanna sugneya matha. But unfortunately, a teacher like you was not there. If you were a teacher available, if you are the teacher available for these devas, definitely they would understand. Here, Yamadharmaraya is given or depicted as a jnani. Yamadharmaraja is depicted as a jnani. Shrotriya Brahmanishta Jnani Yamadharmaraja is. Therefore, he is fit enough to be an acharya. So, what is Nachiketa saying very intelligently? Tvam cha mrityo yanna sugneya matha. You are not there to teach them, to make it easy for them to understand. You said it is very difficult, even gods find it difficult to understand, but you were not there to make them understand. Therefore, they have not understood. Vakta cha asya tva drigo anyo na labhyaha. Tva drig anyo na labhyaha. Where else can I find a teacher equivalent to you? It is my good fortune that I have come to you, and you have given me these three varas. And in this, I can ask you that question which is so closely connected to you. What happens to a person, a jiva, after death? And I know that the jiva travels. But then what I want to know is, I want to know about that principle which is immortal, that which is there, that which does not travel. Who else other than you can be a better teacher to give me this knowledge? Vakta cha asya tvagdrig anyo na labhya. Vakta, a teacher, cha asya, a teacher of this knowledge, tvadrig, like you, anyona labhyaha, I may not get another teacher similar to you. I may not find another teacher as good as you. It is my good fortune that I have found you. Therefore, He Yama, na anyo varahatulya ye tasya kaschet. I am not going to ask for any other vara. This boon only I want. I want only Atma Jnanam. This shows the mumukshutvam. He has recognized the teacher in Yamadharmaraja. He has recognized the Acharya in Yamadharmaraja. He says, Vakta cha asya tvagdrig anyona labhyaha. No other teacher I can find in my situation. It is my good fortune that I have found you. Therefore, I do not want anything else except this knowledge. This shows the quality of the Shishya who is a Tivra Mumukshu. So, the qualifications of a Shishya are also talked about, as I told you in this Vali. So, it talks about an intelligent Nachiketa who has a very good Grahana Shakti and Dharana Shakti. And now he's talking about Nachiketa, the Upanishad is talking about Nachiketa as a Tivra Mumukshu. In spite of Yamadharmaraja telling him this is a difficult thing, it's not easy to understand, he says, who else can be a better teacher than you? I want this knowledge only. I do not want any other vara from you. But then, what does Yamadharmaraja do? He wants to test again whether Nachiketa has enough of Vairagyam, and therefore he does what is called as the pralobhanam. Pralobhanam means he tries to enchant or entice Nichiketa with all kinds of worldly boons. Yamadharmaraja says, I will give you this, I'll give you that. Iha amutra phalas, bhogas. So Yamadharmaraja tells him, whatever you want on that earth when you go back, I'm going to give you that. If you're not happy with whatever I'm going to give you in the earthly existence, I will give you heavenly pleasures. So, iha amutra bhoga, that is all the bhogas in the field of earth, in the earthly field, and all the bhogas in the heavenly field, all of them I will give you, Nachiketa. Plus, please don't ask me for this knowledge. And in spite of enticing Nachiketa with all kinds of material and heavenly pleasures, Nachiketa does not get enticed by any of them, and he sticks to his point, saying that he wants this knowledge. So, in these verses which are coming now, we will see the Vairagyam of Nachiketa, an 8-year-old boy, a Tivra Vairagyam, not got out of a childishness but out of deep Viveka, a person who has understood that all these pleasures, heavenly pleasures or earthly pleasures, are not going to be there forever. They are not permanent. They are anitya, and ultimately the real immortality is only knowing this Atma. This Nachiketa has this particular Viveka. Therefore, Nachiketa has all the four qualifications. Viveka he has, Vairagya he has, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti discipline he has, Tivra Mumukshutvam he has. So let us see now what kind of enticement or pralobhanam that Yamadharmaraja does, in trying to sort of dissuade Nachiketa from knowing this. So what does he say in the 23rd mantra? What does Yamadharmaraja say? Shatayushah putra prautran vrinishva bahun pashun hasti hiranyamashvan भूमेर्महदायतनं वृणीष्व स्वयं च जीव शरदो यावदिच्छसि. Hey Nachiketa, whatever a person would desire for in the earthly existence, all those things I will give you. What are they? Shatayushaha putra pautran pranishva. Please ask for a large family of putra and pautras. Not simply putras and pautras. Shatayushaha putra pautran. Ask for a family which each one lives for 100 years. Shatayushaha putra pautran vranishva. Ask for them. Bahun pashun hasti hiranyamashman. Ask for all kinds of animals, healthy animals. Bahun, pashun. Because the animal wealth was the wealth at that time. Cattle wealth, horses, elephants. These are all considered to be the wealth at that time. Bahun pashun. May you ask for any number, thousands of pashus. What kind of pashus? Pashus in the sense cattle wealth, hasti, and then hiranyam, ashwan. Ask for hiranyam means gold as much as you want, money as much as you want, ashwan, horses, hasti, elephants, pashun, cattle. You ask for them whatever you want. But one thing, to ask for Bahun, Pashun, Hasti, Ashwan, we should have enough space also, isn't it? You can't be having a house like ours and ask for Hasti and Ashwa and all that. Where am I going to keep them? So he says in the next line, Bhumehe Mahadayatanam Ranishva. May you ask for large portions of land where you can accommodate all these animals. Because that time it was considered to be the wealth, wealth of gold and cattle, elephants, ashwas, and to house them all. Ask for Bhumehe Mahad Ayatanam, as much land as you want, the ownership of as much land as you want, Vrinishwa. Swayamsha Jiva Sharado Yavadichasi. Also, I will give you the boon so that you can be alive as long as you want. As long as you want, you can be alive. Ichha Marani, in the sense you can live as long as you want. I'll give you all this. So these are all what? These are all ihaloka bhogas. Ihaloka means earthly. What all do we want? I said in the previous sessions, I said putreshana, lokeshana, vitteshana. This is all are the eshanas or the desires of human beings. Putreshana, that means I want to continue my lineage. That is the desire. Vitteshana, I want to have this resources, money, arthakamas. I want to have that. Lokeshana, I want to have happy surroundings around me, this life also, afterlife also. So all that he's giving. And he's saying, Swayam cha jiva, Sharado yavadichasi. You choose how many years you want to survive. Thousands of years? Till this earth goes, you want to see? No problem. I'll give you. You choose. Ichha Marana, I will give you. Survive as long as you want. And not simply survive like that, not as a old person, degrading person. No, young and fit you survive. I'll give you all these varas. And then in the next verse, in the 24th mantra, he says, Ye tat tulyam yadi manyase varam vrinishva vittam chirajivikancha महाभूमौ नचिकेतस्त्वमेधि कामानां त्वा कामभाजं करोमि. If you don't want these which I have given you just now, if you have any other requirements equivalent to this, you ask me. Whatever you want. Yetat tulyam yadi manyase varam. I have already told you in the previous verse, in the previous mantra, whatever I am going to give you, all your putreshana, vitteshana, lokeshana completely fulfilled. And you can live as long as you want. You decide how many thousands of years you want to live. You decide. Yetat tulyam yadi manyase varam. If you think that there is something else you want similar to this, vrinishva, you ask for that. Do you want vittam? Vitteshana. Do you want money? Chirajivikancha. You want to be alive all the time? I mean, till this earth ultimately goes into pralaya, you want to be alive? No problem. Mahabhumau Nachiketas Tvam Edhi. You want to become an emperor of the entire earth, of this entire Mahabhumau, of this entire Medini, this entire earth with all its resources. Do you want to become the sole emperor without any kind of opposition to you, without any enemies to you? You want to become that? I'm willing to give that. And Kamanam tva kama bhajam karomi. Just having these things is not enough. You must have the body and the indriyas to enjoy all this. And I will give you the capacity of the body and the indriyas to enjoy these things. Therefore, these two mantras talk about the ihaloka bhoga, the worldly bhogas in the earthen sphere, in the earth sphere, which any one of us would like to have. And all limitless, sir. He's giving all these limitless. You choose, you take what you want, but don't ask me for Atma Jnana. What we would have done, I don't know. We would have probably said, let Atma Jnana remain. Let me see in my next creation or something. Let me see next time when I come. Right now, I want this. Okay, Yamadharmaraja is fulfilling all my desires. Let me go. Let me, encash whatever it is. We would have probably said. But Nachiketa is not like that. Nachiketa is not enamored, not enticed at all by the pralobhanam or enticement of Lord Yama. So next year he goes to Paraloka Bhogas also. So here Yama says, if you are not happy with the Ihaloka Bhogas, if you are not happy with whatever maximum bhogas that you can enjoy in the earthly sphere, I am willing to make you enjoy even celestial bhogas. So in the 25th mantra, he says, Ima Ramaha Saratha Saturyaha Nahi Drisha Labhyaniya Manushaihi Abhirmat Prattabihi Paricharayasva Nachiketo Maranam Manuprakshi. Hey Nachiketa, Maranam ma anuprakshi, last line. Don't ask me about what remains after death. Don't ask me about the knowledge of that which is immortal and which remains after the death of the body. I will give you all the pleasures of heavens. Heavenly pleasures also I will give you, and I will give you the indriyas and the body which are capable of enjoying these heavenly pleasures also. What are those heavenly pleasures? Ima Ramaha Sarathaha Saturyaha. All the celestial or heavenly women apsaras. You can have the apsaras, you can take the apsaras with you. I will give them all those apsaras to you. And they are Sarathaha. They have their divine vehicles or rathas with which they will come to you. Saturyaha, with their divine musical instruments. These apsaras have divine vehicles like ratha and divine musical instruments. This kind of a music which the apsaras give can never be enjoyed in the earthly loka. So see all these apsaras, the celestial women, with all their divine or celestial rathas and their celestial or heavenly instruments, I can give them to you. Nahi drisha labhyaniya manushyahi. Nahi drisha labhyaniya manushyahi. No human being can think of enjoying the heavenly maidens. No human being can even think of such a thing. But I am willing to give you the pleasure you can enjoy in the company of even heavenly damsels like Rambha, Urvashi, all these apsaras I'm willing to give you. Abhir mat pratabhihi paricharayasva. You can, be with them and enjoy your life as you want. They will serve you as you want. Paricharayasva. You can ask whatever you want from them and they'll be happy to fulfill whatever you want. Nachiketo maranam ma anuprakshi. So I will give you even the heavenly pleasures in the form of the apsaras also. You can take them with you to the Bhuloka and they will serve you, and you will have not only the ihaloka sukha but the paraloka or even the sukha of the heavens, swargaloka sukha. And don't think that you cannot enjoy them. I will give you all the indriyas and the body and the capacity to enjoy the heavenly pleasures also, because for people like us, we can't even enjoy the worldly bhogas beyond a certain extent. Supposing we are given a choice to enjoy a heavenly whatever it is bhoga, will we be able to manage that? Do we have the type of indriya and the body to enjoy what is there? You require a separate body, you require different indriyas, a different capacity to enjoy the swarga loka bhogas. So he says then that you can take them, and I will see that you will get whatever the strength, the capacity of the body and the sense organs to enjoy these things. So Yamadharma Raja tries to entice him, which is called as pralobhanam. Pralobhanam means enticing, trying to dissuade, distract Nachiketas by offering Ihaloka bhogas and Swargaloka bhogas. But what happens? Nachiketa rejects all the bhogas. Iha amutra phala bhoga, he rejects. So what is Vairagya? Ihat amutra phala bhoga viragaha is the definition of Vairagya. So here it shows that our Nachiketa, an 8-year-old boy, had enough Viveka and enough Vairagya to reject these things. An 8-year-old boy may not even understand what Yamadharmaraja is offering him. But it is not that he rejects it out of childishness, but he rejects it out of viveka. That is what is told in the next few verses. In the 26th mantra, Nachiketa says, Shvobhava martyasya yadantakaitat सर्वेन्द्रियाणां जरयन्ति तेजः अपि सर्वं जीवितम् अल्पमेव तवैव वाहा तव नृत्यगीते. See how he is answering Yamadharmaraja, very intelligent and at the same very sweet the way he says. Last line, Tavaiva Vaha Tavandritya Gite. Hey Yamadharmaraja, keep all those rathas, divine women, apsaras, nritya, gita, everything to yourself. They belong to you. Tavaiva Vaha Tavandritya Gite. All these things which you have offered, I am not interested. They are yours. Please keep them with you. Don't give anything to me. Why? Because I know that they are not permanent. So, first line Shvobhava Martyasya Yadantakaitat. That means what? We don't know whether these bhogas are going to last tomorrow or not. Any bhoga, whether it is the earthly bhoga or the heavenly bhoga, whatever it is going to be anityam. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yetat bhuktva svarga lokam vishalam kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartinorjuna. So even the worlds, the higher worlds and the heavens and Brahmaloka also comes back again and again. And once the punya is over, then you come back to the Martyaloka. Therefore he says, Shvobhava Martyasya Yadantakaitat. They have an end to it. No bhoga, whether it is earthly bhoga or heavenly bhoga is permanent. We don't know whether it's going to be there tomorrow or not. You might give me 1,000 years of life, but after 1,000 years, that is also going to go. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. All these bhogas are only going to weaken my body and sense organs. Nothing more than that. The more that we get caught in the bhoga, the more our body and the sense organs are losing their tejas. They are going to become weak. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. The teja of the indriyas and the body, the strength is definitely taken away by all this constantly getting involved in the bhoga. You may give me this bhoga till I want to live, but then ultimately, as a jiva, I am martya. Sometime or the other, I have to die. Api sarvam jivitam alpameva. Third line, Api Sarvam Jivitam Alpameva. Whatever is there, Jivitam Alpameva. Ultimately, something may survive for 1,000 years, the earth may survive for some 60 billion years, the sun may survive for another some billion years, but ultimately it is one day or the other, it has to send. So, Jivitam Alpameva. However long a jiva can live, how long can a jiva live? Ultimately, alpameva jivitaha jivitam alpameva. Tavaiva vaha tavanritya gite. Please keep all your pralobhanas to yourself, Yamadharmaraja. I don't want any of these. This means Nachiketa is not rejecting these things out of childishness, but out of absolute Viveka. When he has to say, Alpameva Jivitam Sarvam, whatever is alive today, Jiva is Alpa only. And however long a bhoga may be there with me, ultimately it is not going to be there forever. It is anityam. If an 8-year-old boy has to say that all these bhogas are anitya and they are not permanent, that shows that his rejection of what Yamadharmaraja has offered is not out of childishness but out of a deep understanding or viveka. And again, here in the next verse, in the 27th mantra, we will see how Nachiketa is showing his viveka, that whatever he is rejecting it out of understanding, out of viveka. So, what does he say? In the 27th verse, Navittena tarpaniyo manushyaha lapsyamahe vittam adrakshma chetva jivishyamaha यावदिशिष्यसि त्वं वरस्तु मे वरणीयः स एव न वित्तेन तर्पणीयो मनुष्यः. First line. No human being is going to be satisfied with whatever wealth, whatever bhoga one has. The human mind craves for more and more and more and more bhoga. Na vittena tarpaniyo manushyaha. A human being is not satisfied by any amount of bhoga. Lapsyamahe vittam adrakshma cha chetva. I have seen you. You have already granted me so many boons, and I have got whatever I want. You have given me an entry into Swargaloka. You have given me all those vittas which you have already given me. Just looking at you, just being with you, I have got all the wealth that I have wanted. You have already given me more than what I can actually handle. That much you have already given me. Jivishyamaha yavad ishishyasi tvam. I also know that since I have come to you and I have been blessed by you, as long as you are going to be there as Yamadharmaraja, I am going to survive. I know that. As long as you are in power, as long as you are the god of death, I know you are not going to take me because you have already blessed me. I have already come to you. You have already blessed me. Therefore, Jivishyamaha yavat ishishyasi tvam. Ishishyasi tvam. Till you are going to be the head of the department of Mrityu. So long as you are going to be the Mrityu Devata, being blessed by you and sent back by you, I know that I'm going to live anyway. I don't have to ask for another vara for that. I'm going to live anyway. I have got whatever needs to be got by you already. You have given me enough of varas. Looking at you, coming to you, and being blessed by you itself is the biggest vitaha. And as a human being, no human being is ultimately satisfied by whatever he has. Therefore, He Yamadharmaraya, Varastu me Varaniyah sa eva. Whatever I asked you, I want to know about that dharma, that atma, which does not travel, which is left behind after the physical body is gone. I know that there is something called as Atma, which is immortal, which is there all the time, which is not affected by the coming and going of this body. But I want to know more about it. And this is the vara, and this is the boon, and this is all I want. I don't want anything else. In the 28th verse, he says again, Tatascha, he explains again, अजीर्यताम् अमृतानामुपेत्य जीर्यन्मर्त्यः क्वदस्तः प्रजानन् अभिध्यायन् वर्णरतिप्रमोदान् अतिदीर्घे जीवितो को रमेत. So here he says, I have got this opportunity for self-knowledge. Ajiryatam amritanam upetya. I have got this opportunity to know about that immortal thing, Atma. That self-knowledge, I have got an opportunity to know about this. And if I do not utilize that now, I am also afflicted with Jara and Mrityu. You may give me a long life, you may make me Ichamarani, but then I am also as a Martya afflicted by Jara Mrityu. Jiryan Martyaha Kvadastaha Prajanan. I am after all a person living in the earth. I am after all a Jiva of the earth. Kvadhastaha means a living being in the earth. Kvadhastaha. I am a Kvadhastaha. I am a living being, a human being in the earth, in the field of the earth. On the earth I am living. Therefore, I am Jiryan Martyaha. I am going to definitely be affected by Jara and Mrityu. And now I have got this opportunity before Jara and Mrityu come to me. They may come after 1,000 years or after million years. Before they come to me, when I have got this opportunity to have a teacher like you, I would like to have this knowledge. Abhidhyayan Varanarati Pramodan Atidirghite Jivite Korameta. I am not interested in living for a long time, nor in this Varna and Rati. Varna means all the music and dance that you are talking about. Rati, all the experiences of bhoga that you are talking, the pleasant experiences, the pleasures of iha amutra, of the earthly and heavenly pleasures. I am not really interested. Ati dirghe jivite korameta. Who wants to live for a long time? Anyway, in being of an earthly origin, being in the earth, this jiva is definitely going to die one day or the other. But then, this opportunity that I have got to know about this Atman, to know about this immortal thing, to know about myself, what I am, what is it that remains behind. Without this, knowing this, who wants to live? Who wants all Nritya, Gita, and then all the Apsaras, all the other Vitta, and all that you have Medhini, you have granted me, everything you have given me, but who wants that? Because I'm going to leave everything and go one day. Even if it is thousands of years, it is definitely something which is absolutely anityam. And when I have got this opportunity, I want ultimately this knowledge only. And the last verse of this session says, and here, Yasminnidam vichikitsanti mrityo yat samparaye mahati bruhinastat योऽयं वरः गूढम् अनुप्रविष्टः नान्यत्तस्मात् नचिकेता वृणीते नचिकेता न अन्यम tasmat vrinite. Nachiketa will not go for another vara because this is a gudham and anupravishtaha varaha. This varaha which I have asked for is something which is talking about that which is beyond the body, mind sense complex, which is beyond time, which is beyond space. Yat samparaye mahati bruhi nastat. This is something which is beyond time and space. Yasmi nidam vichikit santi mrityo, that doubt which I have got and that about which I want to know is something which is beyond body, time, and space. And this vara, definitely, yoyam varaha gudham anupravishtaha. It is gudham because you are the teacher available to me. In this vara, I want to know about that secret, that immortal thing which is beyond time and space, which is ever existence, which remains always constantly as the immortal principle even after the death of the body. And this is what I want to know, O Yama, na anyam tasmat Nachiketa vrinite. Nachiketa will not go for any other vara. Nachiketa, he's talking about himself. He says Nachiketa doesn't want anything else. He doesn't want any iha bhoga and swarga bhogas, iha amutra phala bhoga viraga. So in this first section, what did we see? The quality and the preparedness of the Shishya Nachiketa and the quality and the preparedness of the Guru Yamadharmaraja and the quality of the Shishya in the form of Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi Shaktasampatti and Tivra Mumukshutvam. With this, the first section of the first chapter is over. And in the next session, we'll start with the second section of the first chapter up till the 15th verse, up till the 17th verse of the next section also, there will be other things that Yamadharmaraja and Nachiketa will be talking about. And the actual teaching starts from the 18th verse of the second Valli or second section of the first chapter, which will take up in the forthcoming sessions. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुस्तदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सत्